Hello, it's me, Garfnix here, and you're joining me for the first round qualifier of the Hell Let Loose Spring Seasonal. Very excited about this one. The first game that we're covering of the seasonal this spring. I'm literally hyped for it, like so pumped for it. I'm sure something's going to go wrong at some point, but bear with me. There's a 15-minute delay, so if something does go wrong, just post it in the chat if you're watching the game and let me know, and I'll try and do what I can to fix it. Straight away, we're going to jump in with No Connection, who's on the other team. I'm covering the DCR side today, so the Axis side, DCR 7 versus GMJ EWSS, and they'll be on the Allies, as you can see hopefully from the overlay. We're going to jump straight in, like I say, and have a chat with No Connection, who's on the other team. We're on Utah Beach today, 22nd of Feb, and yeah, let's get straight into it. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm talking.
No Connection, you there?
Hey, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. You ready?
Quite excited.
I keep saying tonight, but it's actually today.
It's today, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like tonight for some of the people playing, but
Yes.
like quite late, I believe.
Especially for the Chinese. I think it's about 10 o'clock over there.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a really interesting one today, Russia-China game. So one of the ones that's like had a bit less, I don't know, publicity around it maybe, but I think should be a really good game nonetheless. Two exciting and interesting teams. I don't know what you've said to your audience so far. I've literally just jumped in, so I've barely covered any of it. But I mean, we're on Utah Beach obviously today, so you know, have you spoken about the map at all yet?
Yeah, I've run through the map. I think the teams will be coming from and where the artillery will be hitting, and where I expect the tanks to be going. But I think these two teams are very well. We don't know much about them, you know. So I don't know in terms of their gameplay. They might do something that we in Europe don't normally do. So I'm quite intrigued, and I don't want to say too much because they can literally probably teach us something we never know.
Well, especially, I mean, obviously, the EWSS, like GMJ, like I think they're taking it really seriously. I know they want to be like one of the best teams out there, so I'm really curious to see what they've got. But DCR as well, like they've come from Holdfast, so I don't know if they're going to bring some like different tactics or what. I think, you know, like you say, it's going to be just one to watch at the moment.
It's certainly going to be fun. You said that GMJ, EWSS looking to really take control of the game and wanting to be the best that they can. On the flip side, DCR they just want to kind of test their feet into this tournament and seasonal, and then go really big on that autumn seasonal. So whether both teams will want it as much, I'm not too sure. But it's definitely a learning curve for both sides.
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, because you know, if GMJ are thinking like this is our seasonal to like make our mark, and DCR are thinking, well, maybe like you say, just kind of warming up in this one, perhaps like testing the water. Are they going to get a rude awakening or a pleasant surprise, DCR? I don't know.
It's gonna be something, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. Okay, well, I'm going to jump off and talk about the map a little bit, and then hopefully we'll get started. But hopefully we'll speak to each other after the game as well, right?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, perfect.
I'm not sure. We haven't managed to get either of the commanders or anything in, as far as I know, at the end of the game.
No, so it'll just be us two. No commanders, because the language barrier is they couldn't find a fully speaking English person, or at least a translator as well. So
Okay.
unfortunately, it's just us.
Well, hopefully they can find somebody to help like translate our streams for them.
Yes,
but we'll make sure to like take clips and stuff. And yeah. Sweet. Well, I'll speak to you afterwards then, and have a good one.
Have a good game. Yeah.
Cheers, you two. Okay, great. No connection there. being loud on his on his thing there. Enable push to talk, mate. Amazing. Okay, let's have a quick look at the map. Right, so we got the strat sketch up here. Just going to have a quick kind of rundown of the points. Obviously, we've got Utah Beach here, so Chapel. Let's get some size on my little ping here. So we've got Chapel as a middle point, WN7 and WN4. I think it's fair to say that these 2 points, WN4 and WN7, are like slightly more even. But the Chapel maybe slightly favours the Allies because they have an approach up through this ditch here through kind of Hill 5. WN4, I think, is possibly one of the more even, although again the Allies, they maybe have a slightly easier way in through these holes in the barbed wire and up through the road, whereas the Axis kind of have to push like through this hole here, come in from the sides. Both with WM4 and the Chapel, these buildings that I will just circle now, if I can find the right tool. So these buildings here are very, very important. There's kind of a farmhouse here, and there's ways in from multiple directions, and that provides, especially for the Chapel, like a really good advance into the Chapel. But it can also stop. If they're trying to take WM4, the Axis, it can stop kind of advances, flanking maneuvers from the Allies trying to kind of root them out, and then they can stage their main attack maybe through the middle. If it's the Chapel, the Axis often have difficulty if they come in from the lower side here, because this is very open. This whole kind of like this field area through here is very open, and really the only way, if you do drive your transport truck, because there is a temptation to drive the transport truck like straight to the point, and you end up in that area, but you really only have this kind of advance down this like ditch, and it's very easy to cover really. You can get kind of bogged down in these buildings as well if you come in like too wide and try and go in this way. So it'll be interesting to see. For WN7, it's very important to capture this trench area for both teams, and there's some kind of buildings here as well, which are vital to holding that area. That can kind of prevent movement into these zones, and also provide a way in, like under some cover. But for both sides, I think we're going to see a lot of artillery, whatever the middle point, and probably a lot of like tank fighting. Like if it is WN7, we'll see a lot of tank fighting here, tanks moving up this way. Even tanks over here on the sand dunes have a really good line of sight all the way through, but there are some like covered areas down here in the bushes that really kind of help the Axis to get Tigers and stuff like right up, that can support the infantry to smoke and push across this field like into the point here. As far as the other points are concerned, Hill 5, like the secondary points, Sunken Bridge, Legrand, Drowned Fields, Hill 5, A Battery, WN5. WN5 is a tricky one. Of all of them, it's the hardest. You can see that it's kind of in the H column here, very much closer to the Allies, but actually sometimes that can kind of be as much of a curse as it is a blessing, because the Axis can actually put their team anywhere in here, and that's providing capping power on the WM5 sector. And if there's artillery actually in the point, this is all very open around here, and this is kind of sand dunes around Uncle Red, and it can be really actually quite difficult if you see the line here is right where the kind of edge of the sand dunes are, and it can be really, really hard for the Allies to actually push into this area and kind of hold it, when all back in these fields back here you can just have like safe positions basically for the Axis. I mean, look at this here, like you can literally have people completely blocked in and they're in the sector, they're not getting attacked. Same here. So that can be really, really tough for them. On the flip side, looking at Sunken Bridge, Legrand Creek and Drowned Fields, I think that they can suffer sometimes from the similar problem, in the sense that there are some spots that are kind of easier to get to for the allies. At Drown Field, for example, the Axis can struggle because the allies can actually place troops here and like flank right around into these areas, and sometimes kind of control some of the map. They can even get into this little corner here, and be putting capping power on the sector. This whole space here is like very open, and difficult to, you can't like station a lot of troops there. You have to be kind of pushing through. If you're the Axis, you have to be trying to get them through this way, get them into the hard point. We're going to see obviously a lot of fighting around the hard points, lots and lots of artillery, lots of tank fire on this map because it's very open from both sides. The Allies obviously have the advantage with the 76 as always, but as I mentioned before, especially at WN7, excuse me, these kind of positions here along the edges of the field, they're somewhat like sunken down. Like in here, there's like some gaps in the hedges, and the Axis can actually place their tanks, and it's really, really hard. Like they can't be seen from the tanks up at the dunes here, and the Allies will have to get their tanks right into WN7 to get shots on them. But the whole time the Axis can be supporting, as I mentioned before, the infantry push through here. So it's, as always, going to depend on the points, but we'll see what comes up. And yeah, like I say, I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be quite an interesting game. We're almost ready to start, I believe. Just looking at the map before we start, I can see we've kind of got WM4 as the middle point. Whether that's an indicator of what's to come, not sure. Difficult to say. But if it is WM4, I think that probably what we're going to see, like, so at the moment, before the game starts, like on the previous the previous version of the map, I suppose, like as before it switches over. So like before these games, if you are not familiar with it, like I'm streaming on the Axis side, so they're coming from this side, and in orange you're going to see the Allies coming from this side. But before the game starts, I'm sitting in the Allies team, so that when the game restarts, the server restarts, it switches teams over to the Axis. And before the server restart, that's going to happen right now or in a minute, as I mentioned before, we've kind of got a lot of these points like up here at the top. Oh, we've got pre-roll ads now on the stream, by the way. Thanks to the people who've subbed as well. That's really sick. I forgot to say. I noticed that some people subbed with their Amazon Prime accounts, which is awesome and like really great to see. Let's just check that the sound is working, because I think we've caught up on the 15-minute delay now. But yes, on the on this kind of top line, it can be like, obviously that leaves like a lot of room to flank like throughout this whole area of the map. And I think for especially like Mammoth Radar and Sunken Bridge, they're very susceptible to it, because kind of what we said before, where in the sector, so like Mammoth Radar, Sunken Bridge sector, like if you can get your troops into these areas, then you are providing capping power. And if you look at the hard points on both of these, they're actually really small. Like if you compare that to Drown Fields, like it's a really, really small hard point, and so it can be a lot harder for the both defenders and attackers, excuse me, to actually get people into that point when it counts, with all the artillery coming in, etc. Mammoth Radar, there is a little bit more cover maybe than Sunken Bridge, but either way, like there's not a lot of space there for people in those sectors, and it makes it really difficult. The same with all of these ones that have like a really small point. You can see Hill 5 as well, like that's right up on the top of the hill. It's really exposed. Okay, you can maybe sit a tank up here to like shoot out this way, provide cover, but it is also kind of a pretty obvious target, sitting duck. We're going to see lots of satchels. Obviously satchels are very devastating for clearing out buildings. We might see that on WN7, WN4 with these kind of like barns, I suppose you'd call them, like sheds that are on there. If they can get satchels on those, then that can be really powerful. But I just don't know what's going to happen on this one. I don't know the tactics of either of these teams. I don't know the tactics, of is it Hold Fast, the other game? So I just look forward to seeing it, basically. And it should be really, really interesting. Okay, so we've swapped over now, and yeah, I can confirm that we do have Mammoth Radar, Sunken Bridge, WM4, AA Battery, and Red Roof House. So we've got this guy, this one, Hill 5, and oh, excuse me, not Hill 5, AA Battery, and Red Roof House. So, like I say, there's a lot of flanking going to happen now. Lots of tank plays. You know, the Axis can launch their tanks in from this way. You know, and the same for the Allies, and kind of try and get the angles towards. Hill 5 is going to be important to take for the Axis, for the Allies, excuse me, so they can kind of get shots on here. Again, as I mentioned before, those buildings south of WM4 are going to be vital for both teams. That's going to be a focus of the fighting a lot. This kind of building area too, and this main road are going to be very much a focus of the fighting. So hopefully I can get into a squad now, and we'll get started. I am hopefully going to get into a squad here. I got invited to prep, but it seems to have been disbanded now. I don't want to start a new squad because for those of you that are unfamiliar with the way that Hell Let Loose works, you're only allowed a certain number of squad leaders, and if I start a squad and become a squad leader, then I'm potentially locking out one of the squad leader positions for the team should they want to use it. But for now, oh, here we go, maybe. Try and get myself invited again. Okay, so yeah, if I lock out one of those roles, then that can be really inconvenient for the team, but at the moment we've managed to get into a squad. I'm going to spawn away from the artillery so we don't have that clattering away the whole game, shaking the screen and whatnot, and then I'll jump up into the admin cam up in the sky and show you guys the map as I can see it at the moment. Okay, so get rid of that one, and as you can see now, hopefully the map, as I mentioned before, so we've got Mammoth Radar, Sunken Bridge, WM4, A Battery, and Red Roof House. We are down here at the moment, but we'll go and catch up with WM4 in a minute. We've just finished the kind of 2-minute warm-up window, and as you can see, the transport truck here for DCR moving towards that main road, already being capped by the Allies. Of course, it's in F column, which is slightly closer to the Allied lines. We'll get over there and have a little look. Hopefully I should be able to see people's nameplates. There they are. Okay, so here we go. The ERF team here moving in. It's surprising that the DCR guys haven't got destroyed in their transport truck over this way. It's a very kind of obvious spot for artillery along that road because it is their main route in. We can also see a Panzer IV here. Let's get everything highlighted. Hopefully I should be able to see both teams here. Slightly immersion breaking, but it's helpful. As you can see, we can now see people inside the buildings. So fighting going on here. Still the Allies are capping it, so ERF capping the point at the moment here at WM4. But tanks kind of moving in now. I hear another tank over this way, and it looks like this is the supply truck with the commander in for ERF. Biberun and Balkan over here for 7, so 7 and DCR merged in the tournament. ERF, of course, the merger between GMJ and EWSS. Fighting over this building, which is going to, as I mentioned at the start, be vitally important. So the Allies had a bit of a wobble there. They weren't taking the point at WM4, but they seem to be capping it again now. Some DCR guys moving into the centre. I'm not sure where this artillery is aiming out here in the field to the left. It might just be slightly... they've kind of put a little bit more randomness into the system now, as it were, and that means that the shells aren't quite as accurate as they used to be, which is probably a good thing because you can't just literally camp at spawn point. Well, not quite as easily anyway. But we can see, is that some smoke out there maybe in the field? Perhaps not, it's just like clearing away, but smoke again could be like really important on this map for supporting pushes. Hell Let Loose a combined arms game, of course, so combining your artillery, combining your infantry and your armour to kind of do these pushes, combined with the commander abilities such as the bombing run, really important for success in the game. Sounds like the stream is working okay, but obviously, as I mentioned before, please do let me know in the chat if it's not. I'm afraid it's on follower only, but that's just because I don't want bots in the chat. Sometimes they spam it up. We can see the Panzer IV below us here, next to the silos, getting shot here by the ERF squad here. I'm afraid I can't say your name, but this guy here is causing some problems for it. Killed himself with the rocket, but it's not necessarily a problem. 75 for the Allies sitting back here. Might be able to get a shot on in a minute. He should know that there is a tank over here. Should have been marked. I can't see any markers on it at the moment. The 75, that is, because we can't see the markers for the Allies. If you want to see that, of course, go over to No Connection stream, have them both open at the same time, and you should be able to check them both out. There may even be a multicast, although I'm kind of a boomer about this stuff, but do check the specific game information on the seasonal Discord. Big thanks again to all the people involved in organising the seasonal and the Discord there. So Abusify on the Discord, and Jane for sort of setting up like a lot of the matches and stuff, and of course Heidi. Heidi and Jane were on our weekly show, the seasonal recapping. That was last Wednesday. But we've got another one tomorrow that's going to summarise the games that have been played over the last, over yesterday and today, over the weekend, and going to be kind of talking about the games coming up next week. That's going to be after the live draw, which is happening over on Das Altberg's stream, so do come and check us out. Afterwards, it should just be kind of linked through, maybe there'll be a raid or something onto our show, not sure, but if not, then just come check us out. We're going to be kind of, as I say, running over a lot of the stuff that's been happening, and also as the Allies now take the centre point here, WM4, we're going to be running over the games that are yet to come, and also having a look at some people's clips as well. So if you've been watching games from other casters, other streamers over the weekend, you see stuff that you really thought was like awesome, make sure you clip it, share the link to those clips in the seasonal Discord, and we will show them on the show. As well, if you're taking first person footage of your game and you do something really amazing, or you see something really crazy happen, do the same thing. So just take that clip, post it on the seasonal Discord, and hopefully we'll get it on the show. I see that there is a German recon tank out in the back lines here, causing a few problems, but right now the sunken bridge point is going to be the one that's under attack. We can see Wenta over here, the recon squad for ERF, pushing out and around, but getting taken out by some sort of counter sniper movements here by Biberun. Going to be looking to get around the back here, so you can see on the map, if I open it up, we're right above Sunken Bridge at the moment, but this stream, like so, where the garrison is, and that's a sensible garrison placement there by Jig Squad, who we just saw Biberun taking out their the Allies recon squad coming around, because the recon are going to try and get down this ditch probably and into the back of Sunken Bridge. That's like a classic route of approach, or through these fields anyway. There's not really any other way to get there. They're going to find it very hard to push down this road like directly, especially with Panzer IV covering it, although that will become easier when the heavy tank comes out for the Allies. sort of shortly. We've got 1 hour 19 remaining, so very, very shortly we should see 76s arriving on the battlefield. But at the moment, tank dominance appears to be with the Axis, with the Panzer IV and the Lux here on the left of the road. Panzer IV on the right there, as we can see, providing covering fire. As I said, combined arms providing covering fire for the artillery, for the infantry. My bad. So yeah, we hear the supply plane going over the top now, and the Axis dropping supplies in those buildings that I mentioned before. Down here, as you can see in F4, where the supplies are dropping. That is a vital area for attacking WM4 and also for holding it, which is why we see so many ERF players around there. And it is going to be slightly tricky. Just looking at the map, the supplies are actually dropping in the garden of this building on our left, and as you can see, that's pretty much overrun by red nameplates at the moment. And actually Lone Wolf, ironically, is the only player remaining here for a DCR, so probably unlikely that they're going to make it to those supplies. Whether the ERF team think enough of those supplies to go and remove them, because it's not a good idea, generally speaking, to leave supplies lying around, you know, for a squad leader to kind of get to and build something there. Lone Wolf doing a really great job of holding down the fort there, waiting for his team to spawn back in. Prayer, I think, trying to get somewhere else on the right hand side there to place a different garrison, but getting taken out by this automatic rifleman by the gate, on the right of the gate there. Hellwood trying to push forward. Lone Wolf goes down. Hellwood probably trying to place a satchel on the building, I suspect. Not 100% sure, but at the moment just using the smoke for cover, using this sort of timber structure for cover, the stuff propped against the wall. Digris just running straight into death, it looks like. Unable to kind of make an impact there, but Hellwood flanking around, trying his hardest, I think, to get a satchel down, but of course exposed to the enemies in this gateway. Smokes then on the point as the 76, as I mentioned before, moves up, and this is the most powerful tank in the game. It's got the fastest reload, best armor, and if it can basically get a good line of sight on this Panzer IV, it's toast. It's bound for retirement, this Panzer IV, I believe, at the moment. It's in a good spot, though, because at the moment it is covered a little bit by the barbed wire, but as I mentioned before, if they can get a shot on it, as they just have, it's a one-shot kill. So Panzer IV goes down. Tank dominance is now with the allies at WM4, and probably will remain so. It is damaged, that tank, I believe. I'm not quite sure how it got damaged. I missed that. The 76 over there. The Lux in the middle of the road, then still able to provide some cover for the Axis moving up the road, but potentially not for long, because again, that's a one shot for the 76 if they manage to get it up here. Looking at the map here, I don't see any heavy tanks for the Axis, but they may have been waiting for the Panzer IV to go down before they did it. Lefty, the DCR commander, is in the supply truck down here in B5. They've got decent garrison placement here, sort of quite, how do I say, offensive garries. So this Mammoth radar garrison is kind of doubling up as an offensive and defensive garrison. So if I can kind of get us over there. So Mammoth radar, as we can see here, the garrison is literally just below us here on the ping. And you can see that actually it's quite, even though it's actually in this sector, it is quite well covered up along the top parts of E and F column, to get as kind of like a C and D column to act as almost like a backup garrison for Sunken Bridge, because what you don't want is obviously your garrison to go down and then your team not to be able to run or get to your hard cap quick enough, you know, because if there's enemies this close to the hard cap, you know, if the allies get to here, take this down, then they could very well be inside the hard cap, and then it's only a couple of minutes that you've got. Each square is like 200 meters wide, so it's going to take you a while to get there. Oftentimes you would expect to see you know, a backup garrison kind of slightly closer or in between, but this one at Mammoth radar, despite looking quite offensive in the fact that it's like in front of Mammoth radar, in front of the point there, close to the line, it is kind of a defensive one for Sunken Bridge. Sunken Bridge got a lot of defenders on it, but I noticed the enemy infantry marker over here, placed by the commander, showing that there were actually, in fact, enemies over there. They are the allies here in this truck, so ERF going for the big, long, wide flank, trying to, as you can see, they're heating up that Gary that was right below us. He actually just drove practically over it, didn't see it. Could have stood a chance of destroying that, although maybe it's going to get sidetracked if he does. But it's going to probably want to be dropping supplies. I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen him kind of push up more down the road and try and place those supplies, because they can't, where he is right now, underneath us, this ally supply truck, he can't actually place any garrisons there for the moment. But the allies kind of doing what they can to move out of WM4, securing the areas and moving up. They've kind of captured these houses, as we mentioned before. Now they're pushing up the stream, as we talked about. So you can kind of see Fox Squad here moving towards them, but I think against, you know, 3, 4, 5 players, going to struggle. Got one. Got two. But Sean down the ditch here, still posing a threat, and there's more ERF players behind him. Sturmovic though, playing it cool, just laying down here. He knows he's there. Sean knows he's there, but not in the best position here, Sturmovic, but manages to kind of get to his feet, get the shots on Sean, and takes him out. Going to get shot down straight down the ditch though by that machine gun, and unable to hold this ditch. This is obviously the line of attack, or the major line of attack, I would say, on this side of the map. You know, as we talked about before, they're going to want to get down this ditch and the stream, and kind of around the back. You can kind of see over here, that's the corner that they're going to want to get to, and then where Spartan is, like all the way down here to the back. But this supply truck, unable to build a garrison, I think. Got the supplies down. Oh no, they have built a garrison there, but they are getting a bit of trouble from some DCR guys over here, defenders over in the field, but not quite as much trouble as perhaps they should be, because that's going to be a problem for DCR if they can get up close into the point. The Tiger moving up now as well for the Germans. But if we kind of shoot back up in the sky, we can see Sunken Bridge now is really the kind of contested point. Hopefully the strat sketch is working. I'm just kind of like looking at the screen now on the thing. I'm not sure if my marks showed up. I do hope so. If not, I'm just waffling. But we'll see. It's kind of trying out a slightly new format. Those of you who watch my stream regularly on Squad Line Battle on Tuesdays, you'll know that normally I just kind of talk about the map rather than have a strat sketch up to be able to draw kind of what I'm talking about for you. But hopefully if that works, then that can be like a regular thing. This is an airhead here for the Allies, dropping kind of near item OP. Wow, there goes the bombing run. The Allied bombing run there, so straight across the point, takes out National. Big Glabowski manages to kind of get out the way. They have seen the airhead here, and I think it's unlikely that they're going to be able to spawn effectively on the airhead, because these DCR players are going to get to it first. Artillery might be supporting though. The smoke's coming out. If they'd dropped a couple more shells on there, then it might have been slightly more affected, or waited a little bit longer for the bombing run. But it might have just been a distraction, because we can see here ERF players pushing the bridge. It's a little bit of a difficult advance for them there. It's hard to see from this angle. If I get in close and kind of get turned around, you can see that they've kind of not got the best height advantage on the bridge here, despite what you might think. Smoke's out though, and the Allies, you know, if they can get over this bridge, set up some positions over this bridge, especially with a machine gun. Max going down there, great play from TNT here. If they can get into this area, you can see that we're really not far at all, 51 meters just down this road from the... Oh, Max is still up. He just got injured, and he's waiting now for these players here. They know he's there though. It's going to be tricky for him, and he gets absolutely riddled. But yeah, if they can kind of get down this road and get to the Gary, That could be really, really big for them, but they do have to get past this Tiger tank, which is set up in this area. So it looks like the Allied airhead wasn't successful over on those smokes. We saw the DCR players actually get to it. Just sort of assume they were going to take it out. It doesn't take very long to remove them once you've kind of seen them and actually got over to them. But it's a nice try there from ERF. Let me know if the sound is okay in terms of the balance. I'll try and check myself on the stream. In my headphones, I'm being deafened by the artillery, but hopefully on the stream it's not too bad. Artillery, of course, like a huge factor in success, both in you know, public games, but especially in competitive. And it, you know, we're going to see whichever team. Obviously, we're looking at the qualifiers right now, and as I mentioned before the game, these are somewhat unknown teams in the competitive scene. But you know, when we see the teams on the main stage, like who's going to be really successful, I guarantee that they're going to have really great artillery support. Yeah, they're going to have really great recon support for taking out the enemy artillery because they're going to know just how important it is. Looking over here, there is an attack kind of going on the Axis artillery, but they've kind of managed to keep some of the positions open. This is my squad leader here. They've managed to keep some of the artillery firing, which is good from them, but the ERF players are pushing them, which does make it slightly more difficult. Who's that? Mojo going down there. And yeah, the recon kind of trying to take them out, but Kolo and Jadsid over here, Cogs, should probably be a match. But Mr. Yan over here is the sniper, could cause, again, some more problems for them. You can see that they've put some stuff like that. These are the nodes underneath us on the right hand side in front of Kale Black, and these here, like a smashed up transport vehicle and a wall, is literally to stop this sniper from being able to look across over this field and take them out while they're sitting on the guns. So they do know what they're doing here, this Chinese team. Let's have a little whiz over to the other side, of course, like absolutely miles away here. The maps are so big on this game, and something that makes it, you know, really interesting tactically. But again, they've put up defenses around themselves here, so they can't be shot up either. You can see that they've got nodes as well set up, and in this patch of the game that we're kind of playing right now, the nodes are, you basically just have to set them up in your friendly territory at the start of the game. They'll be getting you 10 per minute each. As we can see, 10 per minute, the munitions, the manpower and the fuel nodes, and at the top of the map you can see the remaining resources available to the commander. So fuel is what you use to spawn tanks, half-tracks, transport vehicles, supply trucks. I'm pretty sure supply trucks is still fuel, although it could be manpower. Manpower helps you with like your spawns, and various commander abilities, supplies and things. Pretty sure it's, I'm just talking rubbish now, is supplies, manpower. Somebody chastise me in the chat, please. And munitions, of course, is your bombing run and your strafing run, and also the basically ammo count for the artillery. So munitions, one of the very most important to keep up. The Tiger having to fall back here. I can't see where the Allied 76 is now. But below us, you can see this half-track just here. This is kind of a newish addition to the game. The half-tracks haven't been in that long, and this is certainly the first seasonal where we've seen half-tracks. A tank going down over here, I believe, but I'm not sure what it was. That was a recon vehicle for the Allies. Just trying to cause some trouble. But DCR, not in a terrible spot defensively, but they have been definitely pushed off WM4, as we can see. A risk here a little bit for the ERF is that they kind of overextend, let their teammates push off WM4. But it looks like they've got plenty of people remaining back, remaining in this key area, because they know that this is really such an important spot, this farmhouse area. You really can't afford to lose it. So keeping people there and close to the hard cap at all times is vitally important. So we've got another 76 spawned in for the allies here, moving up, trying to kind of increase that tank superiority, strengthen numbers. We saw before the Tiger kind of falling back. Not sure, that's sort of beneath us, slightly further back. If it's not been destroyed, I'll check in a second. But the looks here, providing anti-infantry fire, no good at all against a tank. It's certainly not 76. But devastating, absolutely devastating against infantry, and covering that approach via the bridge. As they are aware, the axis here, this stream, as I mentioned before, and of course the approach right up the front via the bridge are really the main approaches into the point here at Sunken Bridge. And if they can kind of keep those covered, then they should be able to do a pretty good job of defending. They just have to watch out then for, we saw the supply truck get right round the back. If the allies can kind of build something like round here by this road, like this is actually not off the map. You can see that's the boundary there, demarked by those signs. Something in this area can be like a really powerful location for a garrison. You can see that it's well within the 2 columns. So allies or Axis can both build up their garrisons up to 2 columns into red or enemy controlled territory. So a garrison around these parts, or back here by the tree, they've still got supplies here by the looks of it, the allies. So if they can get somebody over there and build a garrison, then that can be a really powerful position for them. The Axis putting supplies down inside the point then at Sunken Bridge, which is somewhat not unusual, but you've got Zahn there, and you've also got National, both support players, not placing supplies, and instead the commander choosing to use a supply drop. Maybe that's just because they placed their supplies already, and they're waiting for them to recharge. They're on a cooldown. But oftentimes, as the commander, you probably want to be placing your supplies like deeper into the enemy territory, or even kind of very speculatively, like right down, dropping supplies like right here in front of Red Roof House or something, so that maybe further down the line later in the game, we've still got over an hour just about remaining, with an hour and 1 left in the game. Maybe later on you'd want to have them here by where this recon plane is, because if you capture WM4 and AA battery as the axis, you can build your your blue territory, and like here you can build your garrison right up to the edge. You can build it in this red potentially, but it can be proximity much more easily and kind of spawn blocked. But building it right here gives you, like, if you're quick with it and get everyone to redeploy, you can get right into the spot. So that's something we'll see from certainly the more advanced teams in the tournament, being very, very forward thinking in terms of their placement of supply drops. The Lux has obviously gone down, we saw that. The 76 moving up into the point here, supported by artillery, as we mentioned before. Artillery very, very important, and a combined mentality, so infantry supported as well by the 76, the most powerful tank in the game, and now supported by artillery as well, pushing into the point here at Sunken Bridge. And it could just be a full frontal attack that's very successful. If, as I mentioned before, this is kind of an obvious route of defence out here in the ditch, but they've really struggled to defend it in the ditch, and they've got allies pushing them from both sides now. And what we'll see throughout the tournament, we're actually seeing a slight cap going on right now. Haven't placed a reinforce yet, the commander, but what we'll see throughout the tournament is that often the most effective way to attack a point is to create a lot of pressure, like on the front of the point, create a kind of a front line, as it were, between your own defensive point and the enemy's point, and then basically flank them with from the completely opposite side. And as we can see, that's exactly what the Chinese team ERF here are doing. They've got this ditch area kind of cleared out quite well. They've got their tank pushed right up in. They've got a good front line, as we can see here. These players kind of pushing the front of the point, and they've got a lot of flankers just about to come round. Looks like this is the Allied airhead as well. So as I mentioned before, really powerful places to have spawns over here, but it looks like it might... Yeah, no, it's probably not been spotted. I was thinking that perhaps some of these players over here had spotted it, but I'm not sure they're going to get to it. It's got this cover here as well from the squad leader, so that's really smart. Same tactic again that we saw before. Interestingly, dropping the bombing run. I think maybe on the replay they might think perhaps it's a good idea to drop the bombing run slightly later on these, just because, you know, if... So, say Nay had seen it and he was running over to it. Obviously, like, he's kind of still relatively far away at this point, but that's just literally a matter of timing. That will get ironed out for them. But really, really nice combined attack here, using smokes as well to cover the airhead from ERF. And as I said right at the start, you know, before the game began, they're wanting to be one of the more dominant teams in Hell Let Loose, and I think that they're showing that here. They're really using the combined arms mentality. They've got some nice little tactics going on. They've got a good, you know, comprehension, understanding and application here of the front line and the kind of the flanks. They unfortunately have pushed a little far up here in the tank, and it looks like it's going to get satcheled any minute. I think it might have just got satcheled now, not sure, but somebody's managed to take out a bunch of their players around it, whether they just redeployed or whether the satchel has been placed. Little bit difficult to see. We'll know in a minute if it explodes dramatically. Interesting allied supplies dropping here right in the same spot as the airhead. I don't think they're going to be able to stop them, the Axis here. You know, they're going to get a garrison up there on those supplies, and that's going to be really powerful. Yes, it was satcheled. The 76 goes down, but it's done its job at this point pretty well. It's managed to keep the infantry covered and allow them to push up. The only thing that it could have done a little bit more is take out this Stuart back here that is providing some covering fire for the Germans, but the hard cap now overrun completely by allies underneath us. We can see that they've done a fantastic job of slowly sort of grinding away and pushing into this point, whilst also I might add, keeping people back. Okay, WM4 is slightly more under attack now, but they've still got a 76 inside the point here, and a lot of these DCR and 7 players are probably going to be wanting to redeploy in defense, but as we mentioned before, their closest garrison is kind of far away, and to run 200 meters in this game, you know, anyone who's played this very much will tell you it takes time, and getting into the hard cap is going to be really, really difficult. Looks like is that Jaeger there does have maybe a spawn inside, but he goes down. His squad are very much pinned in that corner as well, losing men. Artillery still causing problems. His whole squad's down now, so the point still got a lot of allies in it. This is the Axis airhead falling. You can see on the map here in D3 falling. Whether or not this ERF player realizes that's what's happening and is going to stop it, that's kind of an important thing to miss if he hasn't spotted that, because that is obviously their route of defense now. This garrison actually has been taken out of Mammoth Radar, so really that is their only option. Obviously they've got this one here in C4, but it's absolutely miles away. They're never going to be able to run there in time. They might get a spawn wave in. It's 40 seconds after it lands. You can start to spawn on it. They have got a spawn wave in. This is really the last hurrah here then for DCR when it comes to defending Sunken. Getting good shots off. They need to use their smokes, push right up into the point as quickly as possible, recap the centre, get their guys inside that black circle. You can see they're throwing smokes now. Lefty knows exactly what's going on. He's pushed up into the trench. They've got it all to do, get a bit bogged down. Some of their players killed over here in the point, and the cap has happened now. And actually, that sort of leaves them somewhat out of position. We've also, I don't know, yeah, still got a few of them over here. Glaz, Old Rabbit, you know, not being maybe as quick to get back as they might be. Glaz, understandable, wants to try and get shots or a satchel on the 76 as it moves up. That's the defensive 76 that's moving up, but he's going to struggle now because if they just turn around here, you know, he's going to be spotted straight away by this guy as he runs to his friendly tank. Using the tank for cover there and gets him out in the field, as I mentioned. So, interesting stuff. 54 minutes remain. Sunken Bridge now capped. It's down to a 4-1, and again, not the best garrison placement situation here for the Axis. They've got the half track that you can see on the map in A3. They do have a garrison in A4, but nothing on Mammoth anymore. That was able to be taken out by the Allies. Tiger moves up. Again, let me know in the chat, guys, if there's any kind of problems with the stream or anything like that, or just say hi. Obviously, I'll find it hard to respond and stuff, but you can talk to each other. You know, the 15-minute delay is kind of only for the game, not for you guys. Okay, so supplies going down for the Germans then in D5. They're going to try and get somebody over there to build a Gary. They're still committed to attacking Sunken Bridge. They really want to take it back, and understandably so. But whether that's going to kind of leave them out of position here on Mammoth radar, we'll yet to see. 53 minutes remaining, and it doesn't look like the ERF have managed to kind of really, truly what you'd call consolidate Sunken Bridge yet. Still suffering some I believe that's German smokes in the point there, trying to kind of cover this retake, this counter-attack. Oh, did they take the 76 out down here? They might have. They might have managed to get a satchel on it or something. Oh, no, there it is. So the 76 providing good support on the point, and that's going to put them much more in a comfortable position here, ERF, because I don't know if he took out his own player there, but that does put them in a more comfortable position, because even with the Panzer IV that we can see underneath us on the road, they're going to really be struggling to cap it back. He's not actually in the hard point either, so they're kind of even at the moment if they're both just three-man tank squads. Yep, so it's effectively you have to just look at that as like 3-on-3, but they are sort of capping it back. I'll grab it. I'm not pro running up behind the tank. They won't have satchels, but the tank doesn't know that, so he might feel that he needs to move here and get out of position. Good placement of artillery there, but not going to take out the 76. Unless that was the Tiger. No, the Tiger's getting distracted here, it looks like, by these infantry, so unable to kind of provide support to the Panzer IV. Panzer IV getting shot by someone. Maybe the Lux? I don't know if they're shooting their own tank. It didn't look like anti-armor. But they are getting guys up now. ERF, this EWSS squad kind of moving in. Error over here. The only German player actually in the point here, or even close to it at Sunken Bridge. Not going to be nearly enough to provide the capping power that they want. Mammoth radar practically abandoned back here, and that could cost them. If they're able to get somebody right round the back here, that allies, then that could be a real problem. They have got this recon vehicle as well coming in at the back, and that's not what they want, really. Especially if they've got the half-track still. Yeah, they do have the half-track. It has moved up towards Sunken Bridge. They are dropping supplies. Going to try and get a garrison there in C3, where basically we were talking about before, earlier in the game. So you can see the supplies dropping here. This is kind of a decent-ish place for a Gary. But actually the supplies kind of dropping a little bit too far into the Ally-controlled area, maybe. But they have got good infantry support and a half-track here that they should be able to kind of move up and maybe build something down on the road there in terms of a garrison, the Germans, but not sure. Jaeger or maybe Zahn gets the kill out here on TNT on the road, and as I said, that might allow Jaeger to move up. They've got some smokes out. It's good smoke cover. He's going to try and build a garrison exactly where I mentioned before, as you can see, Jaeger. Slightly too far away from the supplies for Gary, but places his OP. Going toe-to-toe with a whole squad down the road here, though. It's going to be pretty tricky. All they need to do is basically fill up the road with bullets. Jaeger thinking the same thing, kind of blind fires, but Is he going to get taken out? Yes, he gets taken out on the garrison. Didn't manage to get a marker out, interestingly, on the Gary there for the German team. But probably would have wanted to. The Tiger under attack here then. Oof, very, very close shot. He's already been hit once. Covered by smokes now. You can see the 76 over here in red just through the tree line. Maybe still has a shot. It's going to be difficult to see through those smokes. The Tiger getting again a bit distracted. The primary threat for him is going to be the 76, and you know, he's probably marked. Ideally needs to get out of there, I would say. Digris behind the engineer goes down, trying to fix him up, but it's not happening at the moment for this DCR tank. Junger, Onofric and Hartmann. Oof. Again, this other 76, he's really in a difficult spot now. He's kind of got this like pincer movement going on, and he's got infantry with anti-tank capability moving up. Not sure what the rationale is behind the looks shooting the back of the Tiger, but perhaps just speculatively trying to eliminate anyone who's placing a satchel or something like that. Just trying to keep the Tiger in the race. Very surprising that that did not take it out. The 76 hitting the looks there, but the looks somehow toughing it out, but he won't live very much longer, I don't suspect. Trying as best as he can to support the Tiger, drawing some of the infantry anti-tank fire, but this is going to be a satchel here for EWSS. Junger jumps out to try and take out the AT player, but it's going to go down, I suspect. There is already a satchel placed. Sean there was trying to place another one, but it's as good as dead now, that Tiger with a satchel on it. They're never going to be able to get somebody out to take the satchel off, not with that much artillery around them. Onofrak trying desperately, doesn't know where the satchel is, of course. Just looking for it now, trying to take it out. Is he going to do it in time? I'd be very surprised if he managed to. No, and goes down valiantly. That's one to clip, guys. So if you, as I said right at the start of the game, if you see good stuff, both from myself, No Connection, or any of the other casters, or if you record yourself in game and you see something amazing, do something amazing, make sure you clip it, put it in the seasonal Discord. We'll cover it in our show. That's going live tomorrow, 8 PM UK time. That'll be, you know, 2100 for people in kind of European time, Central European time, and I believe, is it 4 AM, unfortunately, for a Chinese audience, but obviously you can catch the VOD afterwards. That's going to be just recapping what's happened in the week, the games like this weekend, in the kind of week before, as it were, and looking forward to the week ahead, and covering some clips as well. Hopefully we can get a good guest on for you. Unfortunately, we don't have the commanders coming on at the end of this game. As No Connection mentioned at the start, I believe there's somewhat of a language barrier, which is a bit unfortunate, because it'd be really interesting, especially to talk to ERF, I think, because of their kind of ambitions here in the tournament. But hopefully at some point we can kind of speak to a representative, caster rep or something from their team, get some more info about their ambitions, some of their tactics and strats. But at the moment we're just having to kind of see it play out live. 45 minutes remaining. They've consolidated Sunken Bridge pretty well. I don't see any Axis kind of putting much pressure really at all over here on Sunken Bridge anymore. Still got good defensive squads kind of clearing out anybody who is around the back there. Seven, Manrus, is not going to be able to do much. They've still got this garrison over here, ERF. They haven't been able to take it out. Max over here and Jaeger. The half-track is destroyed for the Axis. They no longer have a spawn point in that location. They have got some people spawning now over at Mammoth Radar. There is a Gary there that we just saw Glaz spawn in at the back here, or Glaz may have spawned at the outpost, but there is a Gary there right next to him. And they do have slightly more chance of defending now that they have a Gary there, but again, ERF just kind of putting this relentless pressure. I hear planes going over the top. That sounds like it could be a recon. Yeah, that's a recon plane up there for the... Can't really see from this angle, but I believe that's an Allied recon plane, yes. So that'll be highlighting the Axis players who we can see below us. probably along this line looking at it. So Spartan's probably highlighted. These guys who just spawned in here on Breyer's OP are highlighted. Diaz, National also might be. 606P, Old Rabbit might also be highlighted. And you can see that they've got a really effective front line now here, the Allies, and they, as I mentioned before, are kind of just grinding forward, pushing forward. They've got ages, 44 minutes left in the game. They're in a really great spot here with the 4-1. I don't think they're going to try and hold it. I'm pretty sure they're going to go for the complete destruction here. And you can see this EWSS Recon squad leader out the back trying to get around. Going to try and get towards some supplies. I'm not sure. I don't see any supplies at the moment, but it's not to say they aren't there. They don't get highlighted, unfortunately, in the same way as I can see the players, their tanks, etc. But there could be supplies back here already, just waiting for him to kind of get to and build a garrison, which would be incredibly damaging for the Axis. They do have this garrison here, the Axis, on the ping, which is right next to the sniper here. He may have just placed a marker on it if he's seen it. Very sensible play if he has placed a marker, because then they know where it is for next time if he gets taken out. But there's nobody here to defend it, so it's probably likely that he's going to destroy those supplies. But it does mean, of course, that highlighted on the map now, the Axis will know that he's there. Is he going to take the time to destroy the supplies as well, now that Gary's gone? Yes, he is. That's been spotted, I think, by Colo perhaps, but he's pretty far away. Oh no, it's actually got shot from somewhere. Can't be from somebody all the way up here. That's a cracking shot if it is. And this is opening up the back. If they can get supplies down, like Lefty's the one here who's kind of spotted that. Okay, so they place the OP here, the sniper squad. They know that they've going to be there. They will have been spotted removing that garrison, and so Mr. Yan is going to try and get some shots out on the road to anybody pushing that location. Gets one kill, or somebody gets a kill. Lefty manages to shoot him, fantastic, across the field there. Oh no, he didn't get a kill, so he's in the half. Is that half track? No, it's a troop transport. Can't see who that is. Specnaza, does that say? But the important player, the squad leader, is back here. The OP's still up. Mr. Yan is going to probably alert the squad leader to place a marker on that truck. See a little bit of rubber banding going on there. That's somewhat unfortunate. Hopefully that's just for me and not something that's been plaguing the game for the players. Of course, I gave shout-outs earlier to the people who are organising the seasonal. But shout out to all the players as well. I think that's really important that we mention that in every game, because you know, this seasonal tournament is going to be going on for, well, months, and some of the players for some of the teams are going to be potentially playing an awful lot of games here. They're dedicating a lot of time. They've also dedicated a lot of time in terms of training, in terms of, you know, just playing the game, getting familiar with stuff, practicing on their own time in private games and in things like Squad Line Battle that I cover on Tuesdays, sort of basically public matches that are sort of a bit more organised and stuff, and also in public games, as I said. You know, it takes a lot of dedication and commitment to be part of one of these communities and play regularly in their you know, their competitive team. So I'm just going to get up the player list here. I didn't have it kind of ahead of time, or not in a format that I could actually kind of use for the stream, but you know, these are the credits here, as it were. I hear, hopefully that is a bombing run that I hear going over. No, it's a recon plane going up this way. So yeah, these, you know, all credit where credit's due to all of these players on both teams. I'll have a little scroll through so you can see who's playing. And, you know, if you're playing today, you know, good for you. Congrats, you know. It's really good to be chosen for your community team. And, you know, well done for dedicating the time to that, because it's not a small task. Obviously, a massive thanks, as I said earlier, to the people organising the seasonal. But thanks again to the players. So over here on the ERF team, you can't see who's in what squad, because they've changed that for this update, so you can't sort of say, oh, they've got a certain number of tank squads, or they have people in recon, or, you know, they're using lots of individual squad leaders doing separate squads or something like this. God, that is a lot of machine gun fire that I can hear right now. But yeah, big shout out to all the players here for both teams. Some really great scores that I can see. We'll kind of have a little bit more of a look at that at the end, but we've got just under 40 minutes remaining. Sunken Bridge still being pretty well held by ERF. DCR doing an okay job of defending here at Mammoth Radar, but they do have this problem. They do have this problem behind. They've still got people on artillery, and that, in some ways, that might be a bit of an indicator to them, if they're shrewd here, DCR, that the recon squad is no longer bothering with them that much. Although they are under attack from a 75 here, it looks like, which goes down to Honorific. But yes, they don't have a recon squad there, which means that the recon squad is somewhere else. And if the recon squad is somewhere else, there's really only one place they're going to be, and that's behind the point, trying to get to some supplies, trying to place down a garrison to flank around, and doing a great job here, this recon squad. Very, very stealthy, got really, really close to the point. They're going to probably get a marker on this half track that we can see in the sort of island area out in the middle of this swampy field. But if they can get supplies down over here, that could be a really, really powerful position for ERF. And a good front line again, as I mentioned before. They're just maintaining this strong kind of front line. Got tank support. The tank actually falling back a little bit. Doesn't have the required infantry support to stay clear of any kind of infantry anti-tank. You know, just needs to stay alive. Just needs to stay up. Keep causing problems, keep supporting the infantry. Infantry can come up, cover them from enemy infantry. Please open the map often. Rest of the stream is good. Okay. Thanks for the comment. Welcome to the chat, Saichi. I will open the map. As we can see, the garrison situation again is still pretty static. I would imagine that the garrison situation for the Allies is a bit more kind of interesting, but it's quite a flat garrison line here. Not too much in the way of backup garrisons. They did have one back here, but that's been taken out. They haven't replaced it. And at the moment, you know, I don't want to say it's a bit kind of, you know, it's like I say, it's a bit static at the moment, garrison-wise. Quite pushed up, right on the edge. They've got a good idea of, you know, they don't want to build it in the red territory because then it's easy to get proximity. But they don't have, like, when we see the teams that are really, really good, we'll often see, like, kind of strong triangles, sort of geometric shapes almost, that you can draw, like, between the different spawn points, between the garrisons. The DCR team here are using a bit more of a they're using like this kind of curved shape. As you can see, they're trying to basically draw a proximity warning line, because, you know, over here at Dog and at How, that means that there's enemies within the vicinity of these OPs. When they get hot like this, when they go red, as you can see, this one isn't red. When they go red like this, that means there's enemies in the vicinity. So it is an early warning system to say there are enemies there. But at the end of the day, they know there are enemies there, right? Like, they're getting killed out there. They know there's enemies there, really. So using them as a proximity warning is very helpful, but it's also very, very important to supplement that with these kind of geometric shapes of garrisons, making sure that they're in useful positions for you to, as I mentioned before, run quickly, basically. Like, if this one goes down now, which it looks like it might, I think that's over here at Digris. EK is practically on it. This, by the way, is a great spot for building your garrisons in this area, and this is actually what we're looking at now. The garrison is here underneath us, getting pushed by the recon squad lead. Oh, perhaps he died over this way. Yeah, okay, I think he died over here, and he's now kind of flanking around and pushing here. Not able to get supplies down over here then, interestingly, ERF, but I think that could be like a really winning tactic if they do manage to. But I suppose they know now that there's a Gary here, and he's trying to push it, sprinting, which is often the downfall of many a player, and goes down to Jaeger. Got a tank marker over on the enemy tank. Let's have a little look where that is. Is that accurate? Not particularly at the moment. Perhaps that's been taken out. No, it's there in the ditch. Just providing, again, that frontline support. stopping Sunken Bridge from kind of getting pushed up on. And look how wide this front line is here from the Allies. That's really excellent stuff. And not just wide, but like deep here. You know, they've got tank support deep, they've got the commander, they've got engineers, they've got all these people really deep. And what that means is that if a player, for example, if a German player gets through here, say Biberun here manages to kill a couple of these players and get through, he's still got all of these players to get past before he can get around into a good flanking position. You know, and that's just reducing the chances again of squad leaders being able to get round into those critical areas. Manrus, as we can see, trying exactly that. Wow, pretty impressive stuff there. The tank like propelling itself along practically. Goes for the run overkill and gets it. The slumbering beast of the 76 here, waking up to the fact that the Lux has taken out a whole squad next to him. Gets a shot out. The Lux doesn't go down again. Tough cookie, these little Lux. But goes down on the second one and takes a shot from Panda as well. Shout out to Panda, the team rep for ERF. Been very helpful, providing information about the team, etc. You have him to thank for the little logos. Up in the top corner, as we can see at Mammoth Radar, you've got the OP and the Garrison hot here. Again, that's this recon squad leader pushing through into the vital areas, trying to get markers down probably on the Garrison. Don't know if he's been able to see it from there. Maybe, as you can see, it's kind of down here in this little ditch. Hocker and Era are spawning in on it there. I'm terribly sorry. My knowledge of the Russian alphabet is awful, and I'm the A and the N, I believe there, and maybe even the B. Don't mean B, A, or N. They're like VAD or something. So I'm terribly sorry about that. I don't know how to pronounce it, so we'll just stick with error. Incidentally, if you are watching and you are, you know, a Twitch caster and you are from China or Russia, I think definitely get in contact with the people over at the Seasonal, because there's a lot of Russian and Chinese teams, and I think it would be really great to have, you know, some more people in kind of like native languages doing coverage of games. You know, we'd love to see that. It is just a big community here. It's not, certainly for me, it's not about kind of trying to, I don't know, get lots of streams. Like, I really wanted to, this was one of the sort of less talked about games. On the Seasonal Discord, there's actually a way to vote for who you think is going to be successful. A lot of the games receiving hundreds of votes. This one, GMJ EWS, received 61 votes. DCR 7 received 16 votes. So only a total of 77 people voting on this one. So one of the kind of less talked about, less you know, high profile games, but certainly not an uninteresting game at all. And that's why I personally wanted to cover it, and why No Connection, I know as well, wanted to cover this game. Because I think, you know, some of these teams, they're sort of the dark horses of the tournament. It can be really interesting to see how they play, but, you know, at the same time, I do understand that, you know, if there's a better person to do it, then I personally am very keen to kind of have the community to grow, and you know, that could really help to you know, provide good coverage for the teams and for viewers, obviously, from these other nations. So do get in touch. Okay, so the point being capped just for a second there with 30 minutes remaining at Mammoth Radar, and they've done a good job, as I say, of just kind of grinding, pushing in, getting close. They've got smokes out, ERF now right close to the point. Not sure if they have that marked, probably looking at where that artillery's falling, and you can see the number of German corpses around the garrison there from where the artillery's been absolutely smashing them. Jaeger hunting down the ERF squad here, but not managing to take anybody out. Error spawns in on the Gary again. Here comes more artillery. Actually kills their own players, it looks like. ERF guys going down to their own artillery, and they're going to be bummed out about that for sure, because they're in a great position. Smokes now right on the Gary. If that had been a shell, yeah, would have just killed about 10 players there. I mean, not 10, but, you know, 4. But still, they've got a really good flanking maneuver here going on, ERF. They are getting around the point. As we can see, in terms of the garrison placement, you know, it's not, again, it's not what you'd want to see ideally from a defensive garrison situation. Haven't got anything further back, haven't got any of these kind of interesting shapes in order to like provide sort of triangles, powerful triangle shapes like around the points, you know, or like pentagon shapes. Just not able to kind of get it done here with the garrisons, and I think it's costing them for DCR. They're really pinned in here at Mammoth, and they're getting absolutely surrounded by ERF, and if ERF can bring their tanks up as well, as they've been so good at doing throughout the game, I think this is really going to be very difficult to defend. In terms of their attack though, DCR, they've got this 7 squad in Charlie, and they've got another 7 squad over here in... what do you call it? Is it... What's the O in this game? Option. Squad over in this kind of area, pushing on Sunken Bridge. But they're still pretty far out. You know, if we go and have a look at them over here, that's Option Squad there. Over here is Charlie Squad. They're pretty far out from Sunken Bridge. Okay, Balkan is getting close, but he's not going to be able to probably do enough when this is what's happening at Mammoth Radar. The smoke, again, really good stuff, supporting their push here. You know, they've stopped shelling their own guys now, and they're just dropping smokes to support them. ERF moving up, really doing a great job. If they can get this garrison, it's probably all she wrote for the Germans. There is, of course, the half-track there that I almost didn't spot. That's their only kind of real spawn point. Okay, they've got these OPs, but they're not in good situations. They're getting a lot of shells, but they're sort of able to hold on just about here, DCR. They've got good shooters on their team, obviously, able to take out a lot of the ERF guys, but they're just getting swarmed. Got more coming in from the rear here, and they know, look, Mr. Yan, Sakura, they know exactly where this is. ERF player up on the roof of the bunker here, of the radio tower. Big problem for them now. The Gary goes down. Okay, they've got support here from a tank, but getting absolutely bombed to pieces. Sakura's going to go down to his own friendly bombing run. Mr. Yan as well. The whole point's absolutely cleared out. Still got ERF guys pushing in, though. They didn't manage to take anything out with that bombing run. I believe that was the Ally bombing run. You'd hope so, because that killed so many Axis players as well, but they didn't manage to take out the half-track there if it was the Allies doing the bomb drops. But they have managed to kind of just buy enough time to get some squad leaders into the point, and we've seen now all of these OPs that were all hot around the back here. They're all gone now. They're all down, and as I mentioned before, just don't have the garrison placement. Dropping supplies here now when you're already being capped, it's not going to get it done. King Squad's going to have what, 20 seconds, half a minute maybe even to get there. Dog Squad's going to be a minute to get there. It's going to take people ages to get there. They've only got this half track. It's not in the hard cap. They are still getting shelled. I don't know if there's a marker on it. There could well be. Possibly not, because the smoke could be obscuring the view that the ERF players have of the half track. But again, they've only got this one route of approach through the bushes here, like down this tree line, and it's really not looking good for them now. 26 minutes remaining. Mammoth Radar, it does have this Panzer IV moving in for the Germans, but they're in a bad spot. Still getting capped. A lot of ERF players underneath us in the spot. In the hard cap, being supported as well from the sides. Don't know if this assault player managed to get a satchel on the Panzer. Might have done. The Panzer trying to back off a little bit because he's completely smoked out. Doesn't know who's around him. Unable, therefore, to get actually into the hard cap and provide any kind of, you know, reassuring capping power on the hard cap. This is too far away. This is too far away. There's a bombing run, last-ditch attempt. They have got some people spawning in over here at the half-track. They're not going to get blown up by their old bombing run, but there's seconds in it. There's seconds in it. Yeah, okay, they're in a cap race now, but I think it might be too little too late, because they've still got so many other players in the sector, but it's contested. It's going great. It's contested here at Mammoth. The Panzer's inside the point, so that's 3 players basically in a little fortress inside the point, but there's still 4 against them. This is it. And it's done. 5-0, guys. So ERF, the favourites to win at the start. They did succeed. DCR gave it a good try, but you could see that their kind of garrison placement and some of their you know, their defensive tactics not quite up to scratch, and certainly not up to withstand the incredible assault of the ERF team. Absolute. Look at some of these combat effectiveness scores. Like on both teams, let's have a scroll through. Like on both teams, good scores, but some of those ERF combat effectiveness from the infantry squads, they're very, very, very strong. Just absolutely ground it out, and great defense as well. They had the presence of mind to keep their team back. Really, really good stuff from ERF, and as I said before, they're definitely trying to be one of the bigger teams in the tournament, and we can see that they're a serious threat. You know, some of these DCR players leaving now, but really well played from them, but really, really well played from ERF. You know, absolutely cracking stuff. Some of these scores of building stuff, some of the defensive scores we can see, well over 1,000 points. That means that they've been hanging back in their defensive sectors like really, really well. You've got some great offensive scores as well, but defending ever so well, and very, very important. You see this defensive tank spent most of the game in a defensive sector. Very, very important. Defense in this game, incredibly powerful. So really great stuff there, and I love to see that. We're going to jump on now with Known Connection again. Hopefully he is in the interview chat. Let's just jump on.
Points from both teams. And we also have Garfnix here.
Hello, Known Connection. What a game.
Yeah. Oh my days, what a game. That was lovely, that was.
Yep. I mean, GMJ, EWS, ERF, like doing what they said they were going to do, I think.
Yep. I just need to turn your mic down because I heard it was a little bit higher last time.
Deafening. Sorry, I'll whisper.
No.
From your end, though, I'm really, really interested to hear like about the garrison placement for ERF, because I think that's something that I was very curious about, and it looked like they did an absolutely cracking job of defending, and I'm curious, definitely curious about the garrison placement.
It's weird you say that, because I think the max garrisons they had was like 4.
Wow.
Yeah. They didn't have much garrisons, and when they capped WN4 at the beginning, they were on 2, and then when they were on Mammoth Radar, they had 2 flanking garrisons, so that made them up to about 4. And even on the last point, they still only had about 2, 3. They didn't have much garrisons, and it was quite, I'd say alarming, because most communities will have 8 straight up in the first 15, 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you have much garrisons your side?
Well, I think the garrisons it was quite interesting. I almost feel like it was slightly from a different, not a different era of Hell Let Loose, but like it was a very kind of flat garrison placement, not very deep. The defensive garrisons were kind of, I don't want to say non-existent, but like they were often an afterthought rather than like the primary focus. And so I saw like a lot of the garrisons right up against that boundary line, right on the edge of the blue, as it were, and that cost them in the end, I think, quite dearly, because obviously that's in a good spot for attacking, but when you're getting attacked, that's the first thing to get overrun and get taken down, and at that point you've got nothing except some garrison miles away to have to run back from.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic stuff though from the Chinese team with the combined arms, using the tanks to support the infantry, the infantry to support the tanks, the artillery on everything, the bombing run on the airhead. Really good to see.
I don't think from seeing on their side today, I don't think they would want to be changing much in their gameplay today. I think it was very, very well fought. I would just probably say the only thing that they would probably want to improve on is the garrisons. Yeah. They need garrisons. But in terms of their whole game, I think they did really, really well. But I noticed, like, throughout the game, and your team as the DCR and 7, did they have a lot of players down south of the map? They were at Chapel at one point.
The front line was really wide from both teams, and I think I don't know whose whose idea that was exactly, but like how I imagine it is like one team was trying to flank the other, and that draws the other one into defense out wide, and now they're all both out wide and not providing capping power on either defensive or offensive points for either team. But on this map in particular, with Utah, with that like long road down the middle, with that kind of vital farmhouse area like to the south of WM4, it's understandable why it gets wide like that, I think, because, you know, especially with the points being right along the top of the map like that, it's the obvious idea, like, let's flank. And so the flank gets deeper and deeper and deeper because you're trying to get around the enemy, but the enemy's trying to get to you, and so you end up with this like really, really stretched out thing. But yeah, I think against like a different team, you know, if you go that wide,
you'll get penetrated.
You can get punished, yeah. But I did see that GMJ certainly did like a good job, or ERF, sorry, did it like a good job of keeping the depth of that kind of front line. Even though they were spread quite wide, they were also quite deep, so that even if they did get some penetration through, there were people behind to kind of catch those players as they came through. And DCR were just struggling, even right to the end, really struggling. I saw Charlie squad, option squad out on the south, trying to get around, trying to get back into Sunken, but it just wasn't happening for them.
No. They had a few opportunities there. I think they had a decent start at WN4. I know that the ERF did have a good start, but I think DCR and 7 were coming back, and they almost did, you know, change the system and then come back with the capture. But I think with the tanks that the ERF had,
defensive tanking was so good.
So good. And I'd probably say that going forward, all right, the tank, the infantry, you know, everyone had a good game, you know. But I think going to take away from other communities out of this game, I'd say watch ERF tankers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, defensively and just like their whole combined arms mentality. You know, they were very, very patient with how they played. They didn't overextend. Excuse me. They didn't. You know, when the tanks got slightly out of position and the infantry around them got shot, they just retreated. They just pulled back, allowed the infantry to spawn back in again, and then kept up that front line, kept up that push up the front, and that just bought time for the flanking. You know, a lot of the time in this game, the flanks, it can feel like a meat grinder, but when you get into the position and the flank is on, it's really on kind of thing. And if you just buy your team enough time to get into that situation where they've got enough bodies on the flank, you know, they've got that enemy garrison down, they've got a friendly garrison up, or they've got an airhead or something, then, you know, that's the key. Defense is the key, and they defended so well, I think, ERF today.
When they were going towards Mammoth Radar, they had like the whole entire team in that river between both points. And they only had like maybe about 3 players behind. And what Panda did really well was when he went for that last push, obviously he threw they managed to take out the York garrison, which was behind the radar. Then he threw down a bombing run, and then he got everyone to push in, and I think it was only him back, and he put the reinforce on as well. So it really helped him out on that push to get that upper hand.
Just to get everybody in there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think, they did get into that slight kind of capping race, but there was no way. Like you say, with a reinforce up, with a player or a couple players just inside the hard point at Sunken, you know, Charlie and Option Squad from DCR, they were still just out in the sticks. They were just out in the regular capping areas, you know, in the sector. Yep. They weren't in the hard point yet. It wasn't sort of a serious threat, you know, and when they're already halfway through the cap race, basically, back at Mammoth, like, it wasn't going to happen for them.
No.
But I think, you know, you mentioned at the start DCR kind of testing their metal, you know, dipping a toe in the water here in this seasonal. I think they've kind of got an idea maybe now of, like, you know, okay, they haven't played one of the top teams, but they've played certainly a team that, in my eyes, has the potential to be a contender. And I think it'll be really valuable and interesting kind of experience for them. And they might have had more success perhaps against like a slightly weaker team, but at the end of the day, if you're trying stuff out and if you're like wanting to test your team, like, playing against a good team is what you want. And I think they played against one today in ERF, and I think ERF, like I said right at the start, that, you know, they want to be one of the best teams in the world, and they showed that today, that they've got potential.
And if I remember correctly, when we did the recapping last week with Jane and Heidi, I believe that this game was the lowest voted of them all, if I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, with like the
Um,
least kind of outside interest in it, perhaps.
yeah, and I think that it won't be for the next game for either side, especially for ERF. I think both teams. Yes, DCR and Seven lost today, but they showed great potential in the seasonal. So 100%, the focus will have increased on these two teams
For
going
sure.
into next week game.
I totally agree. I mean, it wasn't in any way like a walkover. DCR didn't
No,
just get like instantly destroyed,
no,
and they showed today that like they do have a place in the seasonal, and that's really good to see,
yeah,
and should be encouraging for them, and like you say, attract more attention from people who aren't just inside their community or something. But yeah, ERF showing themselves to be like a real force to be reckoned with, and very exciting because
yeah,
last seasonal there was only one Chinese team and they kind of did all right, but they got a little bit. We've spoken before again in the recapping last week about how the previous format didn't necessarily lend itself to the slightly like newer teams or the smaller teams kind of thing. They had very difficult games early on and stuff like that. But yeah, to see like more Chinese teams, more Chinese players in the game is always really positive.
yeah.
And yeah, like you just know that they're gonna be good kind of thing. Like it's only a matter of time before there's a Chinese team that emerges that's going to be really really good. And I think ERF have put themselves up there as an option for that.
Yep, 100%. Can't agree any
But
less.
CNUT's still in the main stage,
Yeah,
so it's like there's the China. This is like the the dragon rising or whatever. Like this could be the Chinese seasonal. And especially with like interesting Russian teams as well playing.
yeah,
I think it's really exciting to see that it's not just kind of like a sort of EU or USA type of thing. It's like really, really an international, global tournament this this
100%.
time around.
And I know that Jane and Heidi would love, more communities, not just in the Europe area, but in and around, to get them involved. And it's just their main focus is just to get communities in, you know, getting people involved, and to have ERF and Russians to join us with a little bit of a mix as well. It's great to see, and it brings a
Yeah.
lot of interest. I came into this game not knowing who is going to win. Normally, I have kind of a gut feeling of, okay, maybe I'm slightly to one team. No, and this is probably the one game I've actually gone into and not know who is it that's going to come out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It was like a complete kind of mystery. All right, yeah, ERF maybe had like more votes, but that could just be because more of their players are on the Discord and doing the voting thing. Like
Yeah,
you just don't know. But yeah, really interesting one, and I'm glad we covered it, to be honest.
100%. So, if I believe, we have still got CSP versus Trirex later today. We've still
Yep.
got Lost. No, it's not Lost Legion anymore, is it? It's BWCC versus Heli's Heroes.
Hmm.
I believe Lost Legion are out, aren't they?
Uh,
I
yes. Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say
There,
yes.
it's only BWCC now.
Yes,
I think.
and it's Heli Hardcore Heroes
Uh,
are not with
uh,
One Commander.
aren't with one commando. That's the thing. Yeah. So maybe
Yeah,
are Lost Legion out as well? I'm confused, but I know one commando
yeah, One Commander
aren't in
are
it
out.
anymore, and Heli's Heroes, Heli Tarkors are still in.
Yeah, are on.
But yeah, that one's coming up later. We've also got EG
EG.
versus Five of First and Bastardos, which will be a really good game.
Hmm.
Definitely one to watch. That's again like another really interesting one.
Yeah.
And you said CSP Trirex as well. So they are what I think it's 1900 for EG versus Five of First and the CSP Trirex.
Yeah.
You've got EG Five of First is Heathen Hammer and Das Altberg streaming that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
CSP Trirex again at 1900. You've got Nasbrocker and Gadarian,
Guderian.
and then at 7:30, 1930 our time, UK time, it is BWCC versus
And
Heli's
Heli
Hardcores.
Hardcore.
And yeah, that's on Soul Raver and Quicknix. So do make sure you go and check those out. And also, here's the segue: when you see awesome stuff happening in those games, clip it,
Yeah,
because
100%.
tomorrow we have the recapping again. If you watched last week's show, thanks for joining us. But we've got the recapping happening again tomorrow. So that's myself and No Connection here. I'm going to be covering all the stuff that's happened over the weekend. Looking forward to the week ahead and showing some of your clips, importantly, and clips that you've taken from other casters, other streams.
Absolutely. And I know that we've had a great week. A great day yesterday in terms of the games. We've had a great one to start off today, and with the teams that are playing later on today, are even better. So I think for the first round, we've had a really exciting
Oh
weekend.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like really, really good stuff, and so like, yeah, encouraging to see, good, good to watch. Like,
Yep.
I can't wait to like cover it all tomorrow and recap over the different games and really go through them. But yeah, very encouraging start here, and this is only the
Absolutely.
qualifying stage,
I know.
the
I know.
first game of the qualifiers.
I
So
don't want to think about the main stage just yet because all the attention's right here, right now.
yeah, and well deserved, as we can see. Like these teams
Yeah.
belong in the seasonal, so
Yeah.
awesome stuff. Cool. Well, I will catch you in a bit then, I suppose.
Thank you
But
very much. Yeah.
I'll certainly see you tomorrow. But I think we're going to talk afterwards. But
Yeah.
you can catch us both tomorrow
100%.
on the recapping.
Yes.
Is that on yours or mine tomorrow?
I think you said you want to do my one.
Yeah, we can do it on yours. So come to No Connection stream tomorrow at 8 p.m. 2000 UK time, 2100 European time, Central European.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like 4 a.m. for our Chinese friends, but
Yes.
the VOD
Unfortunately,
will be up for 2 weeks, so make sure you
it will
come check it
definitely will
out.
be.
And
Uh,
also Das Altberg as well doing the draw.
Yes, yes. I do want to mention that Daz Alberg will be doing the live draw at 7:30 UTC time, just half an hour before we go live at recapping. So join them and see who will be doing or playing each other next weekend because they will roll in straight into us and then we'll go straight into the recapping and talk about those games that are just being
Just
drawn.
been announced, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good.
It's going to
Awesome.
be fantastic.
Well,
But yeah,
nice to speak to you as always, and
yeah.
I'll catch you soon.
Thank you very much. Take care.
See you, mate. Awesome. No Connection there. Make sure you go drop him a like or follow, sorry, on Twitch. Make sure you follow all the other casters. Jump on the seasonal Discord if you're not in it already. I will share a link to it right now in the chat. But as we've obviously like harped on and on about at this point, we are doing the show tomorrow, so do come check us out tomorrow. Thanks to all the people who followed today, and after we did the recapping last week as well. Followed myself and also Known Connection. It is going to be on Known Connection stream again tomorrow, so do go there to check it out, or you can come to mine, it will be hosted. But then the week after, I believe it will be on mine. Go join the seasonal Discord, which I've just shared a link to in the chat. And really, really well played to both teams. Fantastic to see from ERF. Amazing stuff, as I've banged on about enough at this point, but really good from DCR as well. Showed they definitely have a place here in the seasonal, and I look forward to seeing them playing against other teams. Perhaps they were a bit unlucky with their draw this time, but again, as we mentioned, if you're looking to test the waters, who better to play against than potentially one of the better teams in the world. And yeah, thanks for joining, guys. Make sure you go check out those other streams later on today, and see you tomorrow.